Hello, hi, and welcome back to my channel. I'm Heather Corinne, and today we're going to be crocheting this adorable tooth fairy pillow. This pattern is very near and dear to my heart because it's one of the very first patterns I ever wrote, and it quickly became my very first Etsy bestseller and continues to be my top selling Etsy pattern now. I've received so many requests over the years for a video tutorial of this pattern, so I've finally decided to provide a video tutorial. So as a thank you for this free video, please give this one a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. Your support allows me to continue providing these free videos for you, and so I really appreciate it so very much. I'll post a list of materials and stitches we'll be using in the description box below, as well as a link to my blog post and the printable pattern. So let's get started on this adorable tooth. I did want to quickly show you the difference between using an H hook and a G hook. So this pattern here on your left is the G hook, and here on the right is the H hook. You can see the H hook has a little bit wider stitches, and you can almost see in between them, and the H hook is a little bit tighter and it creates a little bit smaller of a tooth. My original pattern was done with an H, and I honestly prefer the new version with the size G. For this tutorial, I'm going to be using the size G hook, but just know that if you'd like to make a little bit larger of a tooth, you can proceed with a size H crochet hook. The pocket is a little bit tighter with this size G as well, and that's all I wanted to let you know about that. To begin with the tooth base, we're going to create a slip knot for our hook. And then we're going to chain 21 chain stitches. This first row is the most challenging, so bear with me. We're going to count 2 stitches from the hook, and in that second chain from the hook, we're going to double crochet. Next, we're going to triple crochet in the next 4 stitches. So here's our first triple crochet. Second triple crochet. Third triple crochet. And our fourth triple crochet. Then we will double crochet in the next 3 stitches. So here's our first double crochet, second double crochet, and our third double crochet. We're going to half double crochet in the next stitch. And then slip stitch into the next 2 stitches. And now we're just going to repeat those same steps in reverse order. So half double crochet, double crochet in the next 3 stitches, here's the second double crochet, and the third, triple crochet in the next 4 stitches, so that's 1, 2, 3, in our 4th triple crochet, and then double crochet in that last stitch. We're going to chain 1 and turn. So that should be a total of 20 stitches for row 1. And this is going to create the top little curves for our tooth. Row 2, we're going to single crochet in each stitch across. So that's going to be 20 stitches. And this one's really important to make sure we get that stitch count correct, to make sure we've got those 20 stitches across for row 2. So that's why I'm going to take this one really slow and count every single stitch to make sure I have 20 stitches across on row 2. After that 20th stitch, we're going to chain 1 and turn. Row 3, we're going to place 2 single crochet in the first stitch. So that's 1. And the second single crochet into that same stitch, so we're increasing. And then we're going to single crochet in each of the next 18 stitches. And then 2 single crochet in that last stitch on this row. So that'll be a total of 22 stitches for row 3. Row 4, we're going to increase again. So we're going to place 2 single crochet in that first stitch. And then 1 single crochet in each of the next 20 stitches. And then 2 single crochet in that last stitch. That'll be a total of 24 stitches for row 4. And we'll chain 1 and turn at the end of each row. For rows 5 through 7, we're going to single crochet in each stitch across. So that'll be a total of 24 stitches per row, rows 5 through 7. And I'll catch you back at the end of row 7. For row 8, we're going to single crochet decrease. So let's pull up a loop through the next one, pull through both, and then we're going to single crochet in each of the next 20 stitches. And then we'll single crochet decrease at the end of this row as well for a total of 22 stitches for row 8. Rows 9 through 14, we're going to single crochet in each stitch across. That'll be a total of 22 stitches per row. So when I do several rows like this that are the same in repetition, I like to get these stitch markers out, and then I'll know how many I've done without having to count them. And then I will just crochet mindlessly while watching Netflix. So I'll catch you back at the end of row 14 where we have crocheted 22 stitches per row, rows 9 through 14. Here I've got all of my little stitch markers laid out so I'll know how many rows I need to do. Here we are at the end of row 14. As you can see, I have completed 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I'm going to pop out all of these little stitch markers. And then we can move on to row 15. We're going to be single crochet decreasing in the first 2 stitches. So single crochet decrease. And then we're going to single crochet in each of the next 18 stitches. And then we'll single crochet decrease again at the end of this row, and that'll be a total of 20 stitches for row 15. Row 16, we're going to single crochet in each stitch across. That'll be a total of 20 stitches for row 16. And now's where the fun part begins. Rows 17 and 18, we're going to start working on the first root. So we're going to single crochet in the first 9 stitches for row 17. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And we're going to chain 1 and turn. In row 18, we're going to single crochet back down those same 9 stitches to start working on the first root of this tooth. Row 19, we're going to single crochet decrease. And then single crochet in the next 7 stitches. And that'll be a total of 8 stitches for row 19. Rows 20 through 22, we're going to single crochet in each stitch across, so that'll be a total of 8 stitches per row. So that's rows 20, 21, and 22. Row 23, we're going to single crochet decrease. Then we're going to single crochet in the next 4 stitches. And then we're going to single crochet decrease again for a total of 6 stitches for row 23. Row 24, we're going to single crochet decrease. And then we're going to single crochet in the next 2 stitches. And then we're going to single crochet decrease one more time for a total of 4 stitches for row 24. Row 25, we're going to single crochet decrease 2 times in a row. So that's 1, and then the second time for a total of 2 stitches for row 25. Chain 1 and tie off with a long enough tail to weave in our ends. And here we have our first root. To create the second root, we're going to attach a slip knot to our hook. And we're going to join to the other side of our tooth and repeat rows 17 through 25 to create the other root. So we're going to single crochet 9 stitches for rows 17 and 18. Row 19, we're going to single crochet decrease. And then single crochet in the next 7 stitches for a total of 8 stitches for row 19. Rows 20 through 22, we're going to single crochet in each stitch across. So that'll be a total of 8 stitches per row. Did anyone else notice that I accidentally skipped a row? Somehow my brain turned 20 through 22 into 2 rows instead of 3 rows. It is actually supposed to be rows 20, 21, and 22. So do as I say, not as I do. Row 23, we're going to single crochet decrease. And then single crochet in the next 4 stitches. And then single crochet decrease again for a total of 6 stitches for row 23. Row 24, we're going to single crochet decrease. And then single crochet in the next 2 stitches. And single crochet decrease one last time for a total of 4 stitches for row 24. Row 25, we're going to single crochet decrease 2 times in a row for a total of 2 stitches for row 25. Chain 1 and tie off with a long enough tail to weave in our ends. To weave in our ends, we'll take our handy dandy tapestry needle, thread it through the loose end, and then we'll work the loose end down and into the back side of our project, or it doesn't really matter which side of the project we work it into. We're going to run it through 4 or 5 stitches in one direction, and then turn it and run it back through those same stitches, but skip 1 stitch so that it will catch, and then trim the excess yarn. Now we'll repeat these same steps for the other loose ends. Now's a good time to pause the video and rewind back to the beginning of the first steps for our tooth pattern and make a second tooth base. Moving on to the cute little pocket on the back of the tooth, we're going to place a slip knot on our hook, and we're going to chain 13 chain stitches. For row 1, we're going to single crochet in each stitch across, so that will be a total of 12 stitches for row 1. At the end of each row, we're going to chain 1 and turn. For row 2, we're going to be increasing, so we're going to place 2 single crochet in that first stitch. So 2 single crochet here. And then we're going to place 1 single crochet in each of the next 10 stitches. And lastly, we'll place 2 single crochet in the last stitch for a total of 14 stitches for row 2. For rows 3 through 9, we're going to single crochet in each stitch across, so that'll be a total of 14 stitches per row. So rows 3 through 9, and I'll meet you back at the end of row 9. Here we are at the end of row 9. You can see I used all my little stitch markers to count the rows again, so I'm just going to pop these out really quick. And we're going to create a border around the outside edges of our pocket. So where we've ended row 9, we're going to continue down that left side with a round of single crochet. So we're just going to start single crocheting down this left side of our pocket. And we're going to continue all the way down the left side, the bottom, and the right side. So here I am reaching that corner and moving on to the bottom of the pocket. Now the bottom of the pocket is our original base chain stitches, so this is just a little bit more challenging, but we're just going to continue single crocheting straight across those and around the other side, up the right side, back to where we started at the top. Here we are coming up on the end of this right side back to the top of this pocket. Now we did not crochet across the very top. We started at the top left, went across the side, the bottom, and the right, but not the top. So we chain one, and we're going to tie off with a long enough tail to stitch this pocket onto the back of our tooth. And here is our completed pocket. So we'll take our handy dandy tapestry needle and use that long tail to attach the pocket to the back of one of our bases of the tooth. So I'm just going to stitch through the outside edges of where we created that border around the pocket, back and forth through the tooth to make sure it is securely attached. Once it's nice and secure, I'm going to run that second string end of the second loose end of the pocket through the back so that we can tie off those loose ends and trim off the excess. And here we have one completed side with our cute little pocket ready to leave our tooth for the tooth fairy, and for the tooth fairy to leave her little gift in return. So next we're going to move on to creating the little face on the other side of our tooth. So here we just cut off a long piece of black yarn and string it through our tapestry needle. Feel free to get creative with your faces. This is just the face that I came up with. It's like a semicircle for the eyes and a upside down semicircle for the mouth. I just kind of eyeball this. I don't measure anything. I start with the left side, pull it up through the back, go up a row, and pull through, maybe skipping 2 or 3 stitches. And then I'll come back up through the bottom, skipping the same amount of stitches that I did in between those first few, if that makes sense. And then coming back up. So it's basically an upside down V, and the trick is not to pull it too tight so that it looks like a curve instead of a V. So here's my little curve base, and I kind of manipulate it a little bit to make it look right. And then I add 2 little eyelashes on the end of each one of the eyes. So here's what my first eye looks like. And I'll flip it over to tie off gently on the back and trim the yarn before I start working on the second eye. So the trick with the second eye is to count over the same amount of spaces from the center that the first eye was. So that's the only measuring that takes place here, is just to make sure that it's symmetrical from the first eye that we eyeballed. Ha, no pun intended. So I'm just counting over same amount of spaces from the center and then the same amount of spaces from the first stitch to the second stitch on the eye, if that makes sense, just so that they look the same on both sides. So this is sped up obviously on the second eye because I took forever to sit there and count each one to make sure that they looked the same for you guys. Make sure you check out the reviews on my Etsy shop for this listing. There are so many adorable variations that people have come up with for this pattern with all of the cute faces and little embellishments. I just love looking through all of them. Now that we have our cute little eyes, we'll move on to make the little semicircle mouth. So the mouth is slightly smaller than the curve of the eyes, but it's the same principle of the V shape. It's just upside down from the eyes. So we'll come out from the side, going through the center, and then repeat the same step on the other side, just making sure it's the same amount of stitches apart. How cute is that little face? I just can't get over it. So now that we have both sides of our project finished, we're going to start assembling it. So we want our pocket on the back and our face on the front. So we want to make sure before we start attaching it that we've got this correct. Pocket on the back, face on the front. So we've got them lined up evenly, and we're going to take our white yarn and place a slip knot on our hook. And then we're going to begin the join on the top. This is my preference. You can begin the join wherever you'd like, but I like this top right side just so that we do the curve along the top first because that's the most challenging in my opinion. So we'll insert the hook and begin single crocheting to join both pieces together. Well, I say the top's challenging because it's the base chain stitches of the tooth, and those can be a little tougher than like working down a regular row of single crochet. But in actuality, the toughest part to join together is where you get down in between the roots of the teeth. But anyway, you can pick where you start your join. This is just how I like to start them. And I love how this border goes. It just makes it look so seamless and finished across. Once you've finished going all the way around, it gives it that nice and completed edge look. If you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell as a thank you for me sharing my favorite pattern with you for free. I really appreciate it so very much, and it helps my channel out a lot. Here we're getting to the hand acrobatics to continue single crocheting around the roots of this tooth, but nothing different. It's just still a single crochet join around the roots of the tooth. Right about here at the bottom of this second root is where I like to pull out a really long string of this yarn and attach a stitch marker so that we can begin to add the stuffing. I'm not going to bore you and make you watch me add all of the polyfill stuffing. You just want to add as much stuffing as you want. Less is more in my opinion. You don't want to see through the stitches, but just add the desired amount and then we'll move on with finishing this join. Once we've added all of our stuffing, we'll remove this stitch marker, put the hook back into that stitch we pulled out and pull back this excess and just continue single crocheting right where we left off. Back to the hand acrobatics of keeping that stuffing in while completing this join. I decided to add a little bit more stuffing to this side of the tooth as I got towards the end. Once we finish that last stitch right here, we're going to slip stitch into the first stitch of this join to sort of finish it off. So we've done our last stitch here. We're going to slip stitch into the first stitch of the join and then chain one. We're going to tie off with a long enough tail to weave in the ends. How cute is she? Look at this pocket on the back. How adorable. Fits perfectly. Dollar bills and teeth or any other little fun prizes. So next we're going to weave in these loose ends with the handy dandy tapestry needle. Lastly, we need to add the hanger. I chose to use ribbon, but you could easily just chain stitch or add some jute or string. I'm going to string this ribbon through the tapestry needle and just pick 2 stitches on the back side to run the ribbon through and across. If you watch any of my garland videos, it's the same hanging process as hanging any of my garland bunting. And this is that moment where my OCD cannot handle that this is twisted, and I sit here and untwist it until it's straight. And then I just simply tie it in a bow so that it will hang easily over a doorknob. And here we have our finished Tooth Fairy pillow. I hope you enjoyed creating with me today. I've been so excited to share this pattern with you. Leave me a comment and let me know if you enjoyed making it as well. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you very soon.